I've been talking about this red maple above my head for 4 or 5 years, and how difficult it is to garden around one, and how they run roots everywhere, and how this side of our garden where Steph is standing and filming is always dry because of this red maple. And guess what? We're about to landscape this front garden space right next to us under the red maple. So that's this is going to be an interesting project. The folks that had been renting this for the 5 years or so that our project's been going on ended up buying a house in the neighborhood, and so they stayed in the neighborhood. And the owners of the house, who we know, they have turned it into an Airbnb. So here's an Airbnb if you need one in Raleigh, next to us. And we had a conversation with them about extending our garden space right through over to here. We had talked about that on the other side of the native garden as well. But that house may be turning over at some point, so we haven't done that side over there. But this opportunity should just be fun. We've got some things we're gonna transplant over here we need things that are really tough, that can be, stand up to being dry for extended periods of time. We're not gonna put irrigation in here, but it'll have to be hand watered when it's watered. So it needs to be things that are gonna be really tough around the base of this tree. So we've kind of picked out some things out of our garden that we know would be tough enough to be over here, and we'll transplant a few of those things in, and then we're gonna be on the hunt for other things that are also extremely, pretty drought tolerant and can hold up to this. We are gonna wood chip this like we would any other space that we were gardening. The first step, though, I'm going to paint some lines on the ground this morning so you can kind of see where the paths are going to be, because we're going to put in a path system as always. But the first thing we're going to have to do actually is get rid of a lot of invasives, and before the wood chips can go down. And I can show you some of those. There's a lot of ligustrum that has come up out here. If you give this any length of time at all, you're going to get ligustrum in our area. The liriope that's out here, unfortunately, looks like spicata, which is the spreading liriope, which is, if I had clumping liriope out here, I'd be like, okay, no problem. But the spreading one can be a little bit more difficult to get out. We've got English ivy, porcelain berry, just you name it. Smilax, yeah, there's a lot of smilax here, which is, this is native to the woods here, but not something I want here in the front, the front garden. Yeah, there's Virginia creeper down here. So we got the whole native and non-native aggressive vines out here. This crepe myrtle is going to come out. It's in way too much shade. You can see the powdery mildew on it. And if you look inside of here, it's got porcelain berry growing on, all over it. And then it's got ligustrum growing up through it. And there's wisteria. Oh my gosh, we do have the whole gauntlet of vines. I didn't see this until now. There's a wisteria on the back of it. So just that clump where that crepe myrtle is. And back.
I'm sure there's a mulberry somewhere.
Oh, there's got to be mulberry. Yeah, we don't even need to probably look for that mulberry. There's one of those mulberry weeds right there. Going back this way, there's a fig. They have two really productive figs here. One is here and one is over on the side. We're going to leave the one on the side, but they actually wanted this one gone. This is not even our decision here. They just want, because it's been a lot of work over the years to try to sculpt it around. You know how fast they can grow during the season. The smoke tree is definitely staying. This is just, look how many flowers were on that thing this year. It's always super, super productive. And even up here on the foundation, there's some peonies we'll keep, maybe a few of these azaleas, but the nandinas will go. The cherry, there's some cherry growing up here, on and on and on. I mean, just you name the weed, it's out here. Oh, there's a mulberry. Steph did find a mulberry after throwing that out into the world. That she would find one, and she did. So we got to get all that cleaned up first. There are some irises in there that are going to get moved to the back garden. We're not going to do anything in the back garden because this is a dog-friendly Airbnb, and so we don't want anything back in the back garden that deters people from having their dogs out there running around and not eating plants, and it can just play. So that's, that's how we're going to leave that space. But there is a spot back there to put these, to move some of these irises to. And poison ivy. She's really, before we're done here, we will have covered all of the, again, that's a native plant with great fall color. If you've ever seen the fall color on poison ivy, that's one of those, that's maybe its only quality. We are going to put in, I don't know whether it's going to be turf yet, but where people ride in this direction, I want to leave something here in the curve here that might be turf, or it might be some sort of ground cover. It might be an annual bed. Don't know what it will be. Some sort of entry piece here. So this, so I'm going to leave some sort of curve like that. That's, when you pull into it, it's something. Don't know yet. Anytime I use the upside down spray paint, people tell me to get the little tool that it goes in and do it with the thing. I have one. I just find that by the time I get tools out and get on them, I've already done the job a lot of times. So the paths, haven't really decided yet whether or not, there'll definitely be some sort of path from the end of this sidewalk to our gate. It's kind of already a natural kind of curved, interesting curved path to our path. So we're definitely going to leave that. And then I'm going to bring a path around the front of the tree on this side. And I don't know whether I'll bring it into the sidewalk here, or I'll bring it into the driveway over there. Don't know. That's kind of the question right now. It will probably be right here. And then so that when you park your car over here and you come onto the sidewalk, you can walk this garden, this way, like this, and just have a slow, steady curve, and just have it tie into that, our existing path here. So I'll bring this just like that. So this will just be a long, smooth curve that runs around the front of the tree and up to the front sidewalk. That's probably the way I'll do it. I think that'll be the most effective. It won't be a very wide path, but it's much easier to landscape this if we do that. Back here, if you'll come back around here and show the path back this direction. So you can see what I mean here. This path just naturally, it already has this interesting curve right here. So not gonna fight against it. I'll just go with it and just bring this to, yeah, and our mailman uses it anyway. So it's kind of the reason we had left it here. We have a walking mail route. And it's the reason our path down the middle of our garden, several reasons. It's easier to landscape. It's interesting when people are here touring the garden that there's a path all the way around the house. But it does have a use. From here, we want to have this side garden should be pretty fun to garden in. It's an area that stays a little more moist because it's in between the two houses. Air conditioning unit over here. I think we'll be able to add some things in here that we don't have the opportunity to in the other parts of the garden because it's just always dry. There's a forsythia that's definitely coming out. It's never performed. It's in way too much shade. It gets cut down like this all the time because it's always out to here. It grows this big and has 4 flowers and goes all the way to the wall. So that's definitely coming out. And so from the gate, basically, we'll have kind of a curved path. We want to get away from the house as quick as possible. And so it'll kind of go through where the forsythia is sitting now and be somewhere in here, okay, is where the path will be on this side. And I'll just tie it into that front path out there. But very quickly, we're going to gain some space here. Dogwood will stay. Camellia will stay. The ivy underneath it will have to go. This fig will stay. So that's, that'll be how we do what we're planning on for this side. There is some microstegium out here. And I just said that This area is a little more moist because of that AC unit. It has offered the opportunity for some Japanese stilt grass to grow in here. So that'll be another challenge we're gonna have to deal with. One of the worst weeds overall. It seeds itself so profusely that even after we get it killed, it's gonna come right back. Japanese stilt grass or microstegium. There's a section of it here. It withstands the mowing, the foot traffic, everything. And it just comes back over and over and over again. And deer won't eat it, unfortunately. I think you can see though, once we get this crepe myrtle out of here, we'll be able to put some sort of corner piece on the house that makes more sense for part shade or shade conditions. Don't know what that is yet. We have no plan for a plant over here except for a few things that we know are extremely drought tolerant on our side that we're just going to transplant over here because we're looking to redo a bed in the front garden. It was like, well, that'll be the perfect time to move a few things over here. Outside of that, don't have a plan in the world for what plants will go in here. You know, we'll do what we always do, which is just explore, go to nurseries, visit gardens, see what other people are doing, get examples, and plants just kind of when you do all those things, you end up coming home with plants quite often, and those are the things we'll end up with. Again, we will wood chip this just like we have in the past. It won't hurt this maple at all. In fact, this maple is going to have a giant improvement in its life for sure coming up, because number one, it'll get some water that it's never gotten when things get watered out here, and it won't have this mowed turf around it that every single time that turf gets mowed, those roots are exposed because this thing has these shallow surface roots. It has all kinds of roots. Has anchoring roots, has this fibrous mat, that any of you who have ever mulched around, one of these maples knows. When you go back to planting it, it runs this really wild fibrous root system through it. It's capable of a lot. So I think we'll improve, the conditions for this tree. We won't put 8 inches of wood chips up here around the trunk. It won't be anything like that. And before we start digging out here, we will call 811. We have overhead electric on this one, overhead cable on this one. I think everything's up here. Water and sewer are out here, but they're deep. We'll figure out where they are. We'll make sure that we know where they are. But in our neighborhood, more often than not, the lines are up above your head, except for our new fiber cable, which has already been cut by me, and I knew it was there. So what else, Steph? There's this brick edge here. We'll repurpose any bricks. So this bed is currently defined by bricks on their edge. You know us, I'll pile these bricks up somewhere, and then something will be, I might expand this sidewalk using the bricks, putting a brick edge around that sidewalk, which will be a slightly more comfortable space walking in, widening that out a bit, but that might be a good use for them. Don't know. Might put a patch or two in the path here or there just to make it look more like a path. Don't know. But there's a good opportunity when you pile up something like this in a corner, to be thinking about, how can I repurpose it? I did that for the back patio here. It's a mix of found things, basically, that we dug up out of the garden as we were gardening it. One issue we have is that this tree is got 3 big limbs on top of our power line. And that may have to be thought through before we jump into this project. It's gonna be much harder once we're in here to deal with that. So it's not currently sitting on the power line, but it's grown out and over and it's coming down. And I can tell the weight of it eventually is gonna be sitting on top of that power line. So I don't know. It's my only concern going into this project. Everything else is straightforward. You put down wood chips, you wait a little while, you start planting things that you like. Pretty straightforward and easy. I know the path system. I know all of that. But that you do need to assess, issues like that. The other thing about assessing a project like this or figuring out how you're going to do it, the other thing this path system allows for is maintenance. Okay, so how are you going to mulch this? If I planted all of this in one big giant bed, how would I maintain it? These paths will allow for that. So I'm thinking about, they're also part of my maintenance plan. Okay, the mailman plan, the maintenance plan,
Movement.
What's that?
3 M, mailman, movement, and maintenance. maintenance.
Yeah, yes, mailman, movement, and maintenance. That's what Steph said, the 3 M's of design over here. That's what we'll call that. So there you go. We're pretty excited about this, really, because this one is pretty straightforward. It's just an extension of our front garden. We need this to be low maintenance, so that'll be big part of the theme of this, is to not put things in here that we know will struggle without ongoing water. You know, where there are a few hosta over here right now, but they're tucked up in a slightly more moist area up there, so they might be okay in the more moist areas, but we can't use hosta, you know, even the shady area over here. This is liriape. That's the reason the liriope and the daylilies and the ligustrum have kind of thrived over here, because it's just bone dry, you know. So you got to think about, if we're going to use herbaceous perennials or woody shrubs, whatever it is, it's got to be something that can take just being bone dry. So there you go. New project coming forward. This will be, you know, this will take a year or so. This will be part of our tour when you guys come for the tour next year. Hopefully the native garden over there will be basically filled in at that point. It's halfway there now. And then this will be in some stage of starting as well, with interconnected paths to our garden as well. So thanks for watching.